Sleeves here with the Senior Pickleball Report powered by TNC Network. Let's get it going. Today in our People of Pickleball episode, we are speaking with author Trey Sizemore. He is a man of all trades in the pickleball world. He puts together pickleball summits. He puts together doubles, video programs, and how to play doubles better. Now he's got the Match Tracker, which allows you basically to keep track of your progress as a pickleball player. But before we get to Trey, if you like this content, consider subscribing to the channel. Also, check out all the links in the description and support us by actually going out there and getting some merch. And hey, check out our newsletter. Keep up with the pickleball world. All right, folks, let's get to that interview with Trey Sizemore. Trey Sizemore, Dynamite Doubles, the Pickleball Hut, and obviously the thing we're going to talk about right here, let's see if I can see it. There we go. The Match Tracker, which I love and I've just started using. Welcome to the Senior Pickleball Report, Trey.
Thanks, Mike. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so we'll get into this because you have quite the bio. You get your hands in a lot of different things. Very successful. You are one of the OGs in the pickleball community. Been doing this a long time. In pickleball years, it seems like 100 years because most of us jumped into this game probably in the last 3 to 5 years. So let's find out how this wiffle ball sport sort of captured your heart and how you got involved in it.
Yeah, absolutely. So growing up, I was a big tennis player, played tennis for many years since I was very young. And many years ago, I was working with my tennis coach who said, hey, after our lesson here, I'm going to go and I'm getting certified to teach pickleball. There's a big demand for it. I think I'm going to branch out and start teaching that. And I'm like, pickleball, what the heck is that? Sounded weird. I had no idea what it was, no clue whatsoever. So he got me interested, went and did a little research, found someone who taught not too far from where I was, and they had, I didn't have paddle anything. So I went there, got a paddle, and like a lot of people, and maybe this was your experience as well, I just loved it. I mean, I picked it up pretty quick and loved it. And my wife, who I tried to get to play tennis for many years, it's hard to pick up tennis. And if you haven't played for, it's frustrating to get out there and play. And she got out there with me to play pickleball and picked it up and was getting rallies in the first, 15 or 20 minutes. She was comfortable with it and had a great time. And, I got bit by the bug. So since then, my tennis racket's been getting dust on it and I've been playing a lot of pickleball. So
yeah,
it's
right
been
on.
Great. Yeah.
So I know, a lot of us, we enter this game and we're like, we play the first time and we're like, hey, we're pretty good. And, I'm getting it back and forth. I'm in rallies. We've never played anybody that's actually really played this game and taken it seriously. And so what happens to me and a lot of folks is we seem to plateau after a while because, you can only watch so many YouTube videos and things like that. But what you came up with when we're talking about the Match Tracker here is something that I really appreciate, being a former distance runner, because I would log in my miles. I would see trends, things of maybe why I'm getting injured, why I'm not peaking at the right time for road races or whatever it happens to be. And I was a little shocked that, this seems like a pretty basic thing that should be out there. But when I got it, I'm like, it's so obvious that it's not around. And now it is. And I'm like, instead of logging this stuff into my phone, I can, it's got a glossary of terms. It's even got a conversion for those of us that never quite picked up the metric system in grade school in the 70s. And the equipment you need, the rules, obviously the history of the game, and then the logging itself, which is Dynamite. And you can use it any way you really want. I use it sort of as a diary form. It doesn't always have to be for matches for me. I use it for practice sessions as well. So talk about the idea behind this, because it seems so obvious, but it wasn't around, and now it is.
Yeah, same sort of thought. It's a great way to be able to improve your game. There wasn't anything out there that I found that was like this, and you need to be able to, kind of look back and see how I've been playing. Like you mentioned, it's not just for matches, it's for practice too, right? So to be able to reflect, when you reach those plateaus, you want to improve, what is it? So, what I've always thought about with pickleball is, there's like three core pillars that we're trying to work on, right? And improve all the time. It's around basically the technique. It's around our mental state, our mental focus, our mental strength that we have that can, cause a lot of swings in the game. And it's also around strategy. And so this guide really allows you to capture a lot of that information, so I can see from a technique perspective, as I reflect back on my practice, or as I reflect back on my match, what do I need to work on, right? Where was I weak during the game from a technique perspective? My half volleys were really suffering. I was getting up in the transition zone. I wasn't being able to get that back, right? I may see that in the moment, but tomorrow I may have forgotten about that, or the next day. So when I go out to practice, that's maybe something I can work on. From a mental standpoint, as I'm able to reflect and work on those things that I need to improve upon, it really helps my confidence in the game as well too, right? Because I know that things that maybe were previously weaknesses are now better than the last time I went out there and practiced, or they're better than the last time I went out there and had a match. And then the last part of it is the strategy piece. So as I'm able to go back and reflect and look at a match that I just played, especially, that's where it's going to come into play more so than, maybe our practice. What worked, right? When I say that, I mean, what worked for me during the game? What was I doing right? Did I do something? Maybe sometimes it was by accident. I was in the right place, but I want to go back and look at that. What was working against my opponents? If I'm playing, these people often enough, neighborhood or local league or something, what are some things I can notice about maybe their tendencies or things that they're doing? So really, this match tracker allows you to go in and capture all of that and look at it. And what's great about it is you're able to see progress over time, right? Sometimes we think like, oh, I'm not getting any better. I'm getting out here. I'm putting the hours in. I'm playing matches. I'm losing to some of the same people. But now I can see, oh, you know what? Last week I was playing and I gave myself a relative low score here. It was a bad day for me. My technique wasn't good. I went and worked on those things. And this time when I went out, it's better. It's better than before. And it's encouraging and inspiring to get out there and do that. So that was really, kind of the big start for why I wanted to put this together, was to address some of those.
Yeah. And it's a great size too. Like you can carry it in your bag, which is great. And you can do it live. You can sit there between matches and you can reflect instantly. If you're sitting and putting stuff down that happened, in the moment, just a few games ago or a game or so ago, that you have to reflect on, and you can go back. And for me, I think that's a missing component of, progress in this game. Is we do all the other things, we watch the videos, we take the lessons, but to journal, so to speak, about it, and to really reflect on it, and to go back, whatever, months, years, and to see, like you mentioned, that progress. And then there might be little things that you completely forgot about, like why am I doing this and it's happening, X is happening, and then you look back and it goes, oh yeah, duh, this is why I'm doing that. I was doing that 2 years ago, and it's because blank was happening. And I think it's invaluable because inevitably, we will plateau, but to make those small little gains and to make those improvements and to get to the next level, to the next rating level and things like that, I think it's the little intangibles that we sort of ignore, that the best players do and those who improve do. So I think what I've gotten out of this, just from having it a couple weeks, is it's built in habits, and the habit is pretty simple. It's writing stuff down, and that makes a big difference. And then I can go, and I'm going to do that after I just got done playing today. So when we're done talking, I will write about today's and in the people that I played against and what they did to me and what I did well against them. And then what I also like, as you mentioned earlier too, is you get to rate yourself, and you get to be honest with yourself, because you're the only one that really needs to read this. And you can look back, and we all have it. We have days in the ebb and flow of this game, and we all know this is probably the streakiest sport out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is meant to be, just as you're using it, custom for you. Like you said, really, you're the only one looking at it. It's for you to go
Yeah,
back and look on and, look over time and go back, last week, go back last month, go back last
right,
year after a while and see how you're doing. But you can go in, there's places in here for you to put your highlights, things that were really good, the high notes that it's always important. Even if you
yeah,
lose, and get double bageled in it, you can go and
yeah,
look and say, hey, there were some highlights, I did this a little bit better today. And you need to do that. You need to be positive, but additionally challenges, right? If
right.
you win really well against somebody else, what were some of the things specifically that were challenging for you that, you want to work on? There's places in here to capture things like your cool down and how you're feeling physically, look at
Hmm.
the weather. All of these things can be, trends, right? On certain days when it's really windy, a lot of us have challenges out there playing, but are there certain
Right.
conditions, hot, cold days that you don't play well on,
Yeah,
those types of things you want to look at. Injuries, right? Or things that were
right.
bothering you during the match, right? So you may go back and look and see you had this streak for a week that it was really didn't get good results, but maybe, you forgot, oh yeah, you know what, I was coming off an injury that week, or, I had the flu or something like that. So you can, kind
Right.
of correlate some of those things together with it. But that kind of information, looking at the court, making some notes. There's a little mini diagram of the court on there, so you can make some
Right.
capture some notes as it relates to that. But yeah, exactly. Great way to be able to go back and reflect and look and improve and see your progress over time. Because I guarantee you, if you're out there putting in the time, you're reflecting on where you need help, you work on those things when you're drilling. You are going to see progress over time, and it's super encouraging, to look at that over time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great tool. You have obviously a number of different tools. Your footprint in the pickleball universe is pretty immense. And so let's talk about some of your digital work. Obviously, you have the Summit, which is tremendous. So why don't we start there, because that I think is an event that if people have not participated in should check out, because it's invaluable. I mean, you're pulling from all the great minds of instruction. So talk about the World Summit.
Sure. So when I was first, we talked earlier about me first getting into pickleball. My
Mm-hmm.
background is a lot of training, delivering training to people over times in the corporate world. That was what my day job was with that. And so I thought, hey, what better way for me to learn than to, talk to people who, are really successful, all the best players and all the best coaches, and not just for me, but to then share that knowledge with everybody out there so everybody can improve and benefit from it. And these folks who sometimes, don't get a forum, especially then for being able to, provide their knowledge and where they're really good and their specialties to, everyday players like us. So that was really the beginning of the World Pickleball Summit. Was I reached out to these people at the time who I didn't know
Yeah.
and said, hey, you don't know me. I'm getting started in pickleball. I'd like to put together this summit. We'll record sessions together, some interviews. We'll do
Yeah.
some stuff on court, and would love for you to share your knowledge. And what was so great about it was that these people who did know me, they were just, and this just speaks, I think, to the pickleball community as a whole. They were just so giving and so like I didn't get a single no. Like everyone I asked
That's
said,
incredible.
absolutely, I would love to do this. And I was just like,
Yeah.
really? You would? And so giving of their time. So we recorded a number of these, ended up being 25 different sessions with all of these great
Wow.
pickleball players and coaches, and talking about, a lot of it was around technique, a lot of it was around, pregame and stretching and injury prevention. There was chiropractic, there were, overheads and backhands and forehands and serving and double strategy and single strategy, volleys, etc. And we put it out there for people, and it was received really, really well. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed putting that. I learned a lot from it. I think a lot of people, emailed me after that attended and said they learned a lot from it. So the people that gave the coaching and the players really got a lot out of it, made a lot of great friends and colleagues from doing it. So it was just a fantastic experience. It's something that the content is still there for others to be able to go look at,
Right.
and looking to maybe now, since it's been a little bit, revisit and potentially do another summit,
Okay.
maybe later this year or early 2025, to
Yeah.
do one with some new people, just get some new voices in there with
Sure.
it. But yeah, it was a great experience.
Yeah, I mean the game's obviously changing drastically, equipment and things like that. So obviously there's different strategies to be involved with that, and there's a variety of different ways to, I guess, approach this game because that's what I think I enjoy about it the most. Not only what you touched upon, which is for me number one. I mean, what other sport where you can have a summit of like this and all these people come together and and nobody says no, and you get to just listen to these voices who've been playing this game for a very long time and showing you some alternatives because there are different approaches. And I have a group that we all have our groups that we play with, and it's amazing the different ways people get things done and
Yeah.
they are successful in this game. And so I think that's what's really cool about the summit is you get some different approaches. Not everybody's going to agree on the approach, and things work for different people in different ways. So I think that's what I always appreciated about it. And yeah, I hope it does come around again because I think it's worthwhile for folks to check out. It's a tool that I don't think, at least in my experience, I don't know of anything like it in any other sport.
Yeah, yeah. It was something that was very unique in the pickleball world for sure. There hadn't been a summit since then. I think there've been a few other summits that have happened, but yeah, it's great. I love it. I love seeing more of them and doing things like this. And for me and several people that emailed me, it was just it was like such an acceleration of my game. It was like almost like a hockey stick, where I was like
Yeah.
this and then went up just from the knowledge I was getting and putting into practice what I was hearing from these great players and great coaches. So it's just like all that knowledge condensed into these sessions, and yeah, it was great. So yeah, I would look forward to doing another one.
Right on. So let's talk about your site because it obviously has a bunch of different things, everything from obviously instruction to podcasts and a whole host of other things. The Pickleball Hut. So fill us in because like that seems to be the place to go if you want to find out what's going on in Trey's world and lots of different things to explore. So fill us in on the Pickleball Hut.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it's a resource for folks to go and learn. We're updating with the blog, updating the podcast about things that are going on. Less about, news and what's going on in
Yeah.
pickleball, more so just about, helping folks with strategy and getting better. So strategy on the court, technique that's going on, mental training. So in the podcast, we've talked with, paddle manufacturers around, the paddle composition and different paddles to use, mental toughness we've covered, there as well too. So we're going to be continuing to add to the content, but it's a outlet and forum for me to create content and other experts to come in and meet with them and share content around, all things to improve your game. So we're going to probably expand. Right now, I'm in the process of creating a membership site around it too, where people can go in.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
there'll be lots of things where we can share, forum, talk to each other. There'll be instruction in there. There'll be, anything that we can do to help players get better, right? And touch on all aspects of the game from nutrition to stretching to strength and speed work, strategy, all of those things, because it's, a lot of different ways we can, little levers that we can turn over time to
Yeah.
help our games improve. And so we want to explore all those. And for folks that, need a little help with that or may not be as familiar, provide a way to be able to do that.
Right on. And obviously, your shirt, one of the, I would say, legendary instruction pieces, many people, Dynamite Doubles, talk about that because I've talked to a lot of people who, play on the NPL tour who have that are, 50 plus, and that's where their game really went to another place. So talk about your involvement with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to the World Pickleball Summit, one of the speakers that we had was Hella Spar, and
Right.
she came on to talk about, and that was the first time I met her, was getting her to come on to the summit, and she talked pickleball strategy and double strategy, and she had such a unique take. And that was the first time I'd met her. I was familiar with her work because she was a professional tennis player before and had written a book around Dynamite Doubles for tennis players.
Right.
And she was in the process of taking that knowledge now that she was really focused purely on pickleball and applying it to the pickleball core. There were definitely some differences because of the size of the court and the rules and the kitchen that, obviously weren't applicable in tennis. And I had reached out to her and said, I love it. I love the session that you did during the World Pickleball Summit. Your strategy makes a lot of sense. I've started to kind of put it to use on the pickleball court a little bit. And she was in the process of creating another book, this time for pickleball. And I said, wait, stop. let's don't do the book. I want you to do video like this. This is the perfect forum for you to be able to showcase it. It's visual, getting out on the court and showing people, because she does lessons and she travels around the country and does it, but not everybody has the opportunity to work with her.
Right.
And I'm like, I want more people to be able to see and learn from you. So let's put together a course around this and show exactly, show everyone all the strategy around, zones and the blocker workhorse method and such. And so we got together, we talked about it at Nationals one year. We went to a court in Arizona, and for 2 days, we hired a professional videographer and got out there. We had drones, we had cameras everywhere to get out on the court and do this and create all of these topics and lessons around instructing people around Dynamite Doubles. And it just really was profound in its effect, because a lot of players, coming in struggle with, especially with doubles, where should I be on the court? Right. The ball comes down the middle. Is that my ball? Is that my partner's ball? Where should I be hitting it? Why should I be trying to hit it to that opponent or this opponent or that place on the court? And Hella's strategies around Dynamite Doubles touch on all these and so much more. So it was just eye-opening, and we have so many testimonials coming in, and it's so great with how the people's games have been impacted by this positively. And since then, we continue to offer the course. We continue to expand upon it with bonus content. We do group calls and Q&As to help, the students with it. We've also now done, for the last, 2 years now, certification programs. We have a lot of coaches that come through our program, and they're like, hey, I'd like to be able to go out and teach these methods to my students, right? So we have done a certification. We actually have one coming up here, not this weekend, but next weekend in DC. I'll be going up to DC for that to teach a new batch of coaches and get them certified. So it's grown quite a bit, and we love it. The students love it. We love doing it, and it's been great. So very exciting.
Yeah. I mean, did you think when you picked up this wiffle ball all those years ago? I mean, it's your life. You are a man of all trades in this sport, and you've done some things that are pretty actually legendary, and very, very well known. Did you see any of this coming?
If you had told me, Mike, I would not have believed you at all. I mean, it's been crazy. No idea. It was just something that, like playing tennis, I just wanted to pick up. I had fun doing it. I loved it.
Right.
If there's a way to give back and help others, I wanted to, to try to do that. I've been very fortunate to connect with some great people at the summit and great people like Hella to be able to share some of this, all along the way with the journey. And no, I could never have imagined in a million years something like this, but, so glad for where it is, so glad for where the sport's going, how it's blowing up, friends and family, that hear about it, or colleagues, I'll meet them and tell them what I do. And they're like, pickleball. I've heard of that. Or I just started playing the other day, or, give me some tips. I just got on the court, and, just amazing just how much it's spread and grown, and watching it on TV, and all the courts that are, coming up everywhere you go, indoor courts, outdoor courts, repurposing tennis courts for this. And it's just a fun sport. People love it. They catch the bug. It's phenomenal. It's just got it. Yeah. It just can't believe it at all.
And I know, and it really even hasn't gone like global yet. I mean, when it starts to really go, and it is, because I interviewed Megan Fudge a couple months ago, and she played in a tournament. I think it was an APP, a tournament in India. And she said, Mike, you have no idea what's coming. Like, these folks are really into it, and they're already really good. And we're talking, like 2 billion people in this country, and it is blowing up. And not to mention China, the rest of Asia, and all the, the love of racket sports and paddle sports there. And I always tell folks that, they're like, oh, this pickleball thing is really going. I'm like, like you said, it's every day I wake up and going like, there's something else that is coming in, there's a, I do the senior kind of the senior pro stuff, and, there's a pro league for 50 plus. I mean, who saw that coming? People are getting drafted. People are getting signed. They're getting, signing bonuses, and there's agents now. And I'm like, I mean, the game's been around, nearly 60 years.
Yeah.
And amazing. It is just, I almost feel like it's not real in some sense. Like I'm like, what is happening? To not only to to my life, but to everybody else that is involved in this. I have a buddy that I play with, and he said this is a lot like he was in kind of when the .com stuff took off. He goes, this feels like that, but dare I say bigger?
It's so true. Yeah,
it is, and it's a game that I have to check myself like everybody else does once in a while and go, listen, I'm just whacking around a wiffle ball. Don't take myself so serious at times. But I get to talk to folks like you. You can just see the joy and the love of just really being a part of this community. And I know we've touched on that about a bunch, but for me, I think that's what people, when they come into this game, that's sort of the bonus. Because like you played tennis, I played a lot of beach volleyball. Not the same as far as the community aspect of this sport and what's happening. So
absolutely, yeah, no, it's amazing, yeah. And like you mentioned, all the transformation that's going on, the sponsorships, the corporations that are getting involved, recognizing how much it's blowing up, the
travel and all that,
travel. These professional players, in tennis that are now coming over and playing and having great results in pickleball, and it's just, you watch a lot of the tournaments on TV, or you go to tournaments and you watch the level of play, like you mentioned earlier, how the game has changed. I mean, it's just phenomenal. It just continues to evolve, continues to get better. It's so fun. It's just, and any of us can go out there and have a great time, right? And play and, get others involved in the sport. And that's what I really love about it. Like you said, the community, the ease of the play, the simplicity, but also the, how long it really takes to master, if we ever truly master some of this. So there's always more to learn. So I think that's what I love it so much.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough. Yesterday, I had a group of middle schoolers come out to our courts here, and first time they ever picked up a paddle and hit a ball. But and within 5 minutes, they were getting to the goal that I set of dink 10 that bounce into the kitchen back and forth to each other, and they'd already accomplished that. So they were ready to play some points.
They're ready. I love that. Yeah. Wow. I mean, just seeing all the youth coming in. Yeah. It's amazing. Kids of all ages and teens and picking it up and being so good. Like you said, I mean, they pick it up quick and
they pick it up quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I always tell folks that if you get to see a very high level of ball, to see it in person, because it's one thing to watch it on a YouTube channel or even television. But if you stand next to a court and there's somebody like Annalie Waters or Ben Johns or even 50 plus, like, oh wow, like this is a level that I didn't know existed.
Yeah, there's always something to strive for, right? I mean, there's always that next level to get to. So that's what's fun, is just trying, right? Like you may not ever get to that level, but it's just always gives you a goal and ways to improve. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Well, hey, I thank you for your time. Trey Sizemore, Pickleball Matchmaker. Check it out. All the links in the description where you can get this. And obviously, we talked about his website, Pickleball Hut, the Summit. Hopefully, we get one in the next year or so. And obviously, Dynamite Doubles, the legendary course on pickleball. So thanks for your time. Everything down below if you need to get a hold of Trey. And really would love to get a chance to meet you in person sometime. Sure. I know there's all these conferences and tournaments. I'm sure eventually we'll run into one another. So
absolutely. I hope so. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Mike, for having me today.
Hope you enjoyed our interview with Trey. Get out there and get your Pickleball Match Tracker. Vital tool, lets you reflect and obviously go back and check how you've been progressing in this game. All right, folks, at the end of the day, all the links in the description for Trey are there, and you know what to do. Let's pickle.